Hi everyone, it's Kevin Magpie's YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the first week of the AFL Final Series. If you are with Kevin Magpies, welcome, like, comment, share. If you're new to the channel, watch this for the first time, like, comment, share, and subscribe. On Thursday night, Canada Power continued on their winning streak against Cats in finals. Can Geelong beat them twice in the final series since the 2007 Grand Final? Can the Bulldogs get the job done against the Hawks at the MCG, or can the Hawks break their final streak win since 2015? Can the Swans finally get the job done against the Giants in the finals and win for the first time, or can the Giants continue on their winning streak? Can the Lions continue on their performance up at the Gabba as they normally do, or can Carlton cause an upset? Now, Port Adelaide won by 84 points, 20-18, 138, 7-12, 54. Now, in the end, there were probably a lot of behinds that they kicked as well. Geelong, 13 behinds kicked and 2 were rushed within that. So, I think it's not a great look as well, and 3 hit the post on top of it. So, look, in the end, Geelong played really well, and they played really well, I think, exactly after halftime. After the second quarter, they really got going, the Cats, and when Port hit the lead, they absolutely played really well. They were 3 points in front at quarter time, but then since quarter time, they really dominated. And then in the end, they kicked 6 goals, 2, and they only kick 1 goal, 3 in the end at the Power. But Jeremy Cameron, what a crazy goal that he kicked as well. Like, that's unbelievable as well to see what he can do. Man, I thought he was great. 23 disposals, 3 goals, 1. Jeremy Cameron, 4 goals, 3. Wow, he's a superstar, especially in that lineup. But Port Adelaide, look, they're a bunch of chokers. That's one way of really putting it. They don't perform well in finals on big stages. And again, this was the thing in the early 2000s, before 2004 that they did it. They'd done it in 2007. They lost by 119 points against Cats on a big stage. 2012 they made the finals, I think from memory. 2013 they did. 2014 they won against Tigers in the elimination final, won semi-finals, and then lost in the prelim to the Hawks by a kick. And then you look back in 2015, they didn't make the finals. 2016, they certainly didn't make the finals. Then they lost to the Eagles, a kick after the siren in the elimination final I think in Perth it was. And then 2018, 2019, they certainly didn't. 2020, they won against Cats in the qualifying final, and then that was probably their best win. And then they lost by a kick against the Tigers in a game that they probably should have won. And then 2021, same thing happened. They beat the Cats in the qualifying final, and then they got absolutely smacked by the Bulldogs, and that's when the struggles appear. 2022, they didn't play finals. 2023, same thing happened. Lost to the Lions in the qualifying final, and lost to the Giants at the Adelaide Oval in the semi-final, and went out in straight sets. And again, this year, they've played the home final against Cats and got belted by 84 points. Geelong played really, really good footy, but the Power, a bunch of chokers. Ken Hinkley, I think it's time for him to go. I don't think he's the right man to lead them forward. I certainly do think that they need to really start making a few changes on the senior players and the coaching staff as well. I think Josh Carr might need to take over the whole coaching staff. Really needs to be looked at, especially the way that they played. And I certainly don't buy in that they're good enough. And was it a false top 2 on the ladder? Because that's what it was, second versus third. I think Geelong were probably clearly second. And the only reason why Port Adelaide was second is because they beat the Dockers. And that's when Carlton played finals. So I do think that the ladder this year has lied to a point, and that's when in all seriousness, that's when Port Adelaide really needs to get going and make some tough calls, especially Ken Hinkley. Yes, he's been there for like 12 years or so, but he hasn't won that flag. And people talk about, oh, but Ken Hinkley hasn't won the flag and they're stuck with him. Well, you know what? Maybe you need to make some tough calls, because within that 10-year mark, if you haven't won the flag, you never will win one. And that's the issue at the moment with the Power. They aren't as good as what they think they are. They're a very good home and away team, but when it comes to finals, that's when they choke. And mentally, they aren't there. They struggle in these sort of finals. It's been proven last year when they lost in straight sets. And they've potentially chanced that they can lose in straight sets, especially playing against the Hawks now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what does happen coming out of it as well. So, and then obviously when you look at 2021, they choked against the Bulldogs in a prelim final where they're probably drinking bath water. And then the Tigers that lost by a kick. They've lost by a kick in 2014. They lost by a kick 2017, 2013 that they lost in the semi-finals. I think in 2012 they may have, and then they lost, I'm pretty sure. And then you look back in 2004, they beat the Cats in a qualifying final, and then they won against St Kilda in the prelim final, and then they beat the Lions in the grand final. And 2007 beat North Melbourne. They didn't play North Melbourne. They played one team. They played North Melbourne in the prelim final from memory, and they won the first week of the finals. And then therefore, they had a home prelim final and they won that. And then you look at the way that 2001 onwards, like they went out in straight sets in that. 2002, they played us in the qualifying final, lost to the Bombers, defeated the Bombers in the semi-finals, and lost to Brisbane up at the Gabba. 2003, had a home final, lost that against the Swans. And then pretty much that's when the downfall, they won the semi-final clash. And then they played us in a prelim final, and then we knocked them out then, and obviously we made it into a grand final. And in 2004, that's when it really took them by surprise as well. So they definitely won the semi-finals. And that's where they were. They were top of the ladder, I think, for those 4 years, and they haven't been able to do it. So there are a lot of concerns with the Power at the moment, and I really do worry about them. But credit to Geelong, they played really well. Like I said, they're through to a prelim final, a home prelim final as well. I thought they would lose it and maybe play the Hawks, beat the Hawks, and then play in the prelim final maybe against the Giants as well. So that would have been interesting as well. The Hawks won by 37 points, 14-15, 99 to 98-62. Look, some of the umpiring decisions that favour the Dogs as well were poor. But to be honest, I think they should have won by a lot more. Yes, they had 4 rush behinds, but they had 11 points that they probably could have kicked. You take away the 4 rush behinds, they definitely would have won by a lot more. Bontempelli, he had a very quiet game. Again, Treloar, I thought he was better. 28 disposals in the go. Mozio Bromiso, I can't pronounce his name. 32 disposals, I thought he was great. It's always tough to pronounce his name, so I do apologise if I get it wrong. Nick Watson was good with 4 goals. Even Cashier did kick 3 goals for as well. One thing I do like is Sicily had 23 disposals, Newcombe had 35. That was a really good performance from him. And Lord Meek had 46 hitouts, 23 disposals, and a goal as well. But I like what they did with Bontempelli. They kept him to 18 disposals and a goal as well. Jack Inovan got into the game, which was good, 15 disposals and a goal as well. And they really played well for each other. They really got into the moment. And this is where I can see them making, definitely they're through to a semi-final now. I can see them going past semi-final, but I also think that they'll probably lose next week as well. They might beat Port Adelaide, who knows, but at the end of the day, like, the Hawks, the attitude and the credit that they should get for winning like that, I thought was superb. Did stream the game as well. Definitely felt like it was a tough first quarter, but then the Hawks did really well in the end. Luke Beveridge, I think it's time for him to go. I don't think he's that good of a coach. He's the type of coach, and in 2015 they lost in the elimination final against the Crows. 2016 they won against the Eagles. They won against the Hawks in semi-finals to knock Hawthorn out in straight sets. Won a prelim final against the Giants, and then they won a grand final against the Swans. 2017, they didn't even make it. 2018, they lost to the Giants in the elimination final. 2019, they didn't. They lost to the Saints in 2020. 2021, they won an elimination final against the Bombers, defeated the Lions by a point, smashed the Power, and led in the grand final, I think, during the third quarter. And Melbourne were too good. 2022, they were like 37, 43 points in front. And then they choked in the end to the Fremantle Dockers. And then one thing that you do see now, and this is a trend that's been happening as well, and not many people will realise why I'm saying this as well, because at the end of the day, this is where, you know, things need to change, and it hasn't changed at all for the Western Bulldogs. They get beaten up far too easily in finals. They didn't even make it last year. That's how poor they were. Right. And then obviously this year they gone out. One thing with Luke Beveridge has done, yes, he's made a few changes and he's got them going as well, but at the same time, like, you gotta have consistency in your game, and you gotta have the consistency of the players as well, week in, week out. And I do feel that because he likes them to be outside the top four, trying to win the flag, it does not work. It only worked 3 times with the Adelaide twice and the Bulldogs in 2016. The only reason why that they won the flag, they fluked it that year. They absolutely fluked it. Everything was perfect for a month, and that was it. Since then, they've been to a grand final, they've been in elimination finals, and they've lost. They lost to the Saints by like 3 points. They got smacked by the Giants, and that was the Toby Green eye gouging on Bontempelli. They aren't a good team. They are a 5th to 8th team. Their list, they've got a very good list that's meant to be top 4, but they're not a top 4 team at the moment. Until they start realising their potential, they might need to move on from Luke Beveridge as well. I think it's time as well. Now, the Swans won a classic game, 13-10, 88 to 12-10, 82. Now, the leads were like 20 points as well, and they came back and won. But having said that, too, the biggest lead that the Giants had was 28 points. I say they choked that. They definitely did choke it. The Swans, you know, realistically should have lost that game by a lot more. The Giants do give you sniff, and for the first time, I'm going to say this, the Swans have beaten the Giants in the finals. It was all Giants since then, and the Swans have done it. And look, the Giants will get a second chance, Port Adelaide will get a second chance as well. They'll play Brisbane Lions up at Energy Stadium on Saturday night. So, and that's one way to really look at the positive signs that, yeah, they did everything right, but they just fell short. and they choked it, as simple as that. So credit to the Swans, they played really well, top of the ladder all year, came out and fought back like they did. Again, you can't rely on that. There's fight backs as well. Eventually it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. But credit to where it's due as well. Brisbane led by 28, won by 28 points in the end, 14-15, 99 to 11-5, 71. The scoreboard flattened. They were 9-6, 60 to nothing halfway through that second quarter. Unbelievable. They didn't kick a goal until when they were 10 goals down, and that's again disappointing in Carlton as well. Brisbane played really well. They used the ground really well. They spread really well. The younger players really got involved and really did what they needed to do. And at the same time, Brisbane do let teams come back, and while that third quarter where it looked like 33 points, whatever it was, if Brisbane can kick the first couple, it's game over. Well, Carlton did come back a bit, but it wasn't enough. Port Adelaide just put the game away, and then Brisbane put the game away, and Carlton came back, and it was too little too late. The scoreboard flattened them, and it has been all season. I'm going to question Michael Voss as a coach. I don't think he's a great coach at all. I think he's a shit coach. He hasn't learned. 2023, 2024 they made a prelim final, but they choked that. Realistically, I'm going to say this as well. I think the top 8 this year, as much as it's been an even season, they didn't deserve to be there. I think that they got in there due to Port Adelaide beating Fremantle, and it's the way it is. They did not deserve to play finals this year. They celebrated early in June, like June premieres and all the sort of the rest, and they were top 4. They dropped out against the Hawks when they got absolutely smacked. They got back in against the Eagles as well. Yeah, and they beat North Melbourne, but they struggled to beat North Melbourne. The rest is history. And one thing that they do is they give teams head start, and then they'll fight their way back. I think it was too little too late. You can't say anything other positive in that season. It's a failure from where they were as well as a football club. I would move on from Vossi. I don't think he's that good of a coach. He's not a very good tactical coach. Yes, there were injuries, but you can't excuse that. Even had and heard the comments that if Charlie Curnow play would be different. No, it wouldn't. He's been struggling all season. He really has. I mean, he's a lazy footballer who just wants everything to be his way, and that's it. And I think that's one way for me to really look at it as well, and to see the difference now that it was a false ace on the ladder spot for Carlton. And the fact is that they didn't deserve it. Yes, they did make it. But the only difference is to have DeConey as a sub, to sub off Kennedy. That's the worst decision to make. Match selections, playing Doherty. He wasn't right. I mean, I can get why they did that. And look, I like Doherty. I've got a lot of respect for him because his cancers that he's fought through and his ACL injuries and that sort of thing as well. He's third. But comes to a time where he's not fit. He's not fit enough, and that's when he struggled. Ashton Moore looks like he's going to be a gun. But if I were him, I would leave if they aren't going to play him next year, because they're not. They're 6 to 12 team at best. Carlton are. They aren't a good team. They're not a top 4 team. Might be a top 8 team or outside the top 8 for sure, but they're not a very good team at all. And that's when, to me, it makes a huge difference. And I'm going to give credit to the Lions as well. They played bloody well, and yeah, they did take the foot off the accelerator, and they might get smashed against the Giants, right? But I do feel like with Brisbane, their speed, Lohmann played well, and all the rest. You know what you're going to get out of them. Zach Bailey kicked some goals. Charlie Cameron, I didn't like the way how he was very trying to think of goals instead of looking for his teammates. And I think at times that's what happened with Brisbane as well. They do stop. But having said that too, you got to give them credit. I think the second quarter, right, after half time, they kicked 3 goals, 1. And that was it. Yes, they kicked 6 goals in the last quarter, but then they kicked 4 goals in that last quarter too, Brisbane. So they had the game pretty much wrapped up. They were 10 goals in front, 60 points during that second quarter as well. And 18 minutes and 24 seconds, that's when they led by 10 goals. They had 3 rush behinds Brisbane. And again, Brisbane really do deserve the win, and they play bloody good. So let there be a lesson learned as well in this, that yes, Brisbane have got some fight. They are through to a semi-final against Giants. Congratulations. I hope you guys liked the video. Please don't forget to drop a like and also drop a sub as well. So it wasn't going to make any difference as well. I'm going to try and do some play ratings. I'm going to try and get the season review out as well. But until next time, bye for now.